Hi, so my name is Chim. I'm a content creator for Hollr, and I grew up in the South Lakes in Kendal. I'm here to talk about my experience of growing up Cumbrian. So I thought it might be good to start with the start of my life and when I was younger and a little kid and what I liked about Kendal and what I didn't like so much, and then sort of go into my teen years and then into adulthood. So when I was in primary school, one of the things that I remember about going to school was that I would always walk to school, and it would be down by the river, which is a really lovely way to sort of go to school. And I would always play with my friends down by the river after school. That's just what was done when I was growing up. I really just had an affinity with nature when I was a kid. So I would constantly be going to the forest with my friends, or we'd even go all the way to the lakes in Windermere, and we'd have fun there. I guess the only real negative and downside to growing up in Cumbria when I was in primary school was that I experienced quite a bit of racism. And that was really hard for me because I was probably about 7 years old when I became aware of racism, what it was. And a man called me the N-word. And that was really hard for me because I didn't understand what it meant, but my brother did whilst he was walking me to school. And so my brother basically just said, you don't have to stand for stuff like this. And if anyone tries to do that again, tell me and I'll help you. So that was a bit difficult. But other than that, growing up in the lakes is possibly one of the best places a kid could grow up, especially in Cumbria, because there is so much to do. And if you're a kid that likes nature like me, you probably really enjoy it. So in secondary school, I had the biggest trek ever to school. I think I had to walk 50 minutes to school every day, which is unheard of for city kids. But for me, I didn't actually live outside of Kendal, so I didn't get free transport. But hey, what can you do? So I had to walk 50 minutes to school every day. I really enjoyed being part of the football club in school that I went to, and I really enjoyed being able to go to different parts of Cumbria and discover different parts of Cumbria whilst I was doing footy within school. It was really fun. I went to Whitehaven for the first time, I think, for one match. I went to Windermere, all about the place. That was one of my favourite things about being in school, was just getting to go to do footy, which I already enjoyed, but then getting to go to lots of other different places and getting to skip other classes, which was really good as well. I wasn't a very good kid in school. I was a little bit naughty. I was naughty in the sense that I was a bit of a smart ass. So I would just sort of chat back to the teachers and that sort of thing. A negative about growing up in Cumbria in secondary school for me was definitely it was at a time where people weren't as progressive as they are now. So I did face racism within school, but luckily I could hide both my gender and sexuality identity within school. But it was quite hard still, and I did still experience racism in school from other students, which was hard. But again, my brother and my parents just told me any time that this happens to you to tell them, and that way it would be sorted. Now I'm thinking about things that I did not like. I did not like about Kendal. And one of the things was that there was basically no shops, and there's even less shops now that I'm older than when I was a kid. Top Shop gone, New Look gone, Monsoon gone. Anywhere that you could shop is gone now. And even back then, the options were pretty limited. So if I did want to go shopping, I'd probably go somewhere like Carlisle or Preston to go and do my shopping, because they're just bigger places with more stuff, essentially. Another thing that I really didn't like is the buses. Oh my days. In fact, I don't think they've changed much now, because even on my way here today, I didn't even, my bus, so like it just didn't show up. So I was late. But yeah, the buses would never be on time. And you'd be lucky if one showed up. And to be honest, I still think it's like that to this day. Yeah. And in terms of other things, we had to just make our own fun as well, because there was literally nothing for young people to do. There wasn't even like the youth center that I went to like in primary school age, like it sort of shut down when I like came into year 7. And that's just due to like a lot of funding cuts that have happened to local councils in Cumbria. You know, they don't get that much money in comparison to other councils in other like parts of the country, which I think really sucks for the youth and the generation of Cumbria. Yeah, so we just had to make our own fun. Like I said, I would always like love going hiking with my friends. When I was a bit older, like I would like go on boats with my mates and stuff, and we'd go kayaking. And it's that sort of like adventure side I sort of miss. Like now I live in Manchester, you don't really get to do stuff like that, or there isn't like, you can't just escape to the countryside as easily as you could when you lived in Kendal. Like, although like Kendal is beautiful and great, I preferred going to like Staveley or like Windermere personally, like if I was to go out with my friends and do something, because it just felt like we were going to a new place rather than boring old Kendal with nothing to do. In terms of stuff that I do love and I do like, the food in Cumbria. I mean, I cannot get a Cumberland sausage in Manchester. They don't do it. It's not a thing. I miss them. Whenever I'm up in Kendal, I'll go to Booths, which is basically the poshest supermarket in the world. But I'll go there and I'll get myself a Cumberland sausage. I'll get myself some more sausages as well on the side, little chipolata ones, so the skinny ones. And I'll get myself some mint cake, because like, most people from Kendal do not like mint cake, but I like mint cake. And yeah, Grasmere gingerbread, like that was always such a favorite. Like whenever me and my family would go to Grasmere, we'd often just be like, let's go and get some gingerbread from the gingerbread house. And like, you can literally be waiting in that queue for like 30 minutes just to get some gingerbread, but it's worth it. I would say as well, like the peace, I miss the peacefulness of Cumbria, and being able to see the stars at night is such a beautiful thing. And I think young people in Cumbria should really value what nature they have around them, because if you move to the big city, you're gonna miss it a lot. If you're going to university or whatever. So I definitely think value the peace that is here in Cumbria. It's such a peaceful place. I enjoy not hearing traffic everywhere. I just like listening to the birds and chilling out that way. Events as well, like Torchlight's going to be happening next week, which was something I always looked forward to growing up in Kendal. It's basically like this, like it's a procession of floats, but it's like all local businesses and charities, and it is for the local businesses and charities that it's put on so that they can, I guess, showcase the pride that we have within the community of our local businesses. But like they would throw out sweets from the vans that were going along, there would be dancers, there'd be like whole like drumming bands and everything, and it was always just such a fun thing growing up. But unfortunately, like one of the biggest components of that was the fair, and now we don't have the fair anymore because Kendal Council decided, oh, we don't want to have the fair in the car park anymore, we're going to turn it into a green space. So what was a free car park and what was free land where the fair could go isn't actually there anymore, which is kind of sad, because kids are not going to get to experience the fair, and if they want to, they might have to travel for it. When I went to university and I did my dissertation, I decided to do it on health and social care, and I wanted to base it in Kendal. And one of those things was about like the gentrification of areas, especially like the South Lakes, for people to be able to go in there and like basically just buy properties up, and then like certain people will buy the properties and then they'll like charge extortionate rents just because it's in the Lake District and it's a very sought after area. And I spoke to Tim Farron, and Tim Farron told me that they're trying to do things to stop this from happening. But unfortunately, Tim Farron also voted for the mansion tax to not go through. So how much can we trust him? I don't know. Sorry to get political there a bit. So like for me, I had to move out of area, unfortunately, because I couldn't afford to live in Cumbria, which is really sad. So like my rent now is like significantly a lot cheaper than what I would have had to have paid if I'd have stayed in Kendal. And Tim Farron, although the Liberal Democrats have made some efforts to stop second homeowners coming in, and like a lot, it's not even just landlords, but it's also the second homeowners are like politicians, like other politicians, and they're also like very affluent people, which is in turn very hard for people that may not be so affluent like I was in order to access property within the area. It makes me really mad because it's like you should be able to like my friend, she's currently waiting for housing and she has an autistic daughter, which means that she should be a priority, but unfortunately she's not being able to get anything for the past 3 years now. So it's a really long time to wait for housing. And yeah, I really really dislike sort of like gentrification when it hurts a community, and it's hurting the community. Like it's okay if new restaurants pop up or new shops, I'm totally okay with that because that's contributing to the economy. But when these rich landlords are just buying up properties and then doubling the rent, you know, what hope do young Cumbrians have to then be able to not even just rent property, but even own it? I mean, the average house price in the Lake District is £250,000. So that's $250,000. And I know growing up Cumbrian, I certainly couldn't have afforded that. And I certainly couldn't have found £25,000 for a deposit. That's for sure. When you talk a lot, you need water. I basically facilitate youth work with Anti-Racist Cumbria. And it's basically a group where young black and brown kids can come together, do workshops that help enrich their lives and also have somewhere where they can be in a space where other people just look like them, which is again another thing I would have loved growing up in Cumbria. I would have loved to I really, really would have loved to have had ARC growing up, and I'm glad that it came about when it did, because it came out of the George Floyd protest. The entirety of Anti-Racist Cumbria came out of the George Floyd protests in 2020, which was it was really good. But yeah, the youth work that I do, so sometimes we might do residentials, sometimes we'll do workshops around the young people's self-esteem. We have a program called Living Whilst Black, which is basically to support the young people's mental well-being. Because a lot of the time when young people are faced with racism and microaggressions, they don't often have a place to go and share it. Obviously, before I was saying about my dad and my brother being the people that I could go to, but those were the only people that I could go to. And now these young people can have a group where they can share their experiences of something horrible that might have happened to them within the week. And it's a safe space where they'll be supported and given advice on how to deal with what's happened to them. Because as much as I would like to say Cumbria has progressed a lot, there is still so much progression that is needed.
What would you say to your younger self, little Chim, growing up in Cumbria, if you could say anything at all?
I would say Stay out of trouble. Definitely be a bit kinder to your teachers. Be a bit kinder to your parents. Know that any struggle that you are going through is only temporary, and you'll have the life that you want when you get older.
I'm curious now, what was the worst thing you ever did in
school?
Yeah. The cheekiest thing.
I flipped a table.
Why?
I don't know. I just got mad in maths. I was really tired. I had bad insomnia, and the teacher was like, "Get up." So I was like, "I'm too tired." Bang, gone.
If you could wave a magic wand, what would you change about Cumbria and why?
Well, the environmental side of Cumbria can all stay the same, but in terms of like socially, I would want all young people to have good access to the careers that they want and ways to develop them. I want all the young people to definitely have somewhere to go during the night time, even if it's like just a youth zone. Like Carlisle Youth Zone is a great example of what should be everywhere in Cumbria, but it isn't. So I would definitely say more places for young people to go, more gay bars as well, because the only gay bar that was in North Cumbria, in Carlisle, that shut down, unfortunately. But you said that there was one in Workington. Big up Workington for that. But yeah, definitely want to see the queer scene expanding more. Hopefully gonna do that with a queer magazine I might be setting up. So stay tuned for that.
What makes you proud to be Cumbrian?
What makes me proud to be Cumbrian? Oh, this is a good one. I don't have the same entitlement, I guess, as people from cities do. I'm dead friendly. Like, I think something I love about Cumbria is like, especially if you like go like fell walking or whatever, like you just say hi to people and you ask them, you know, you having a good walk? Yeah, like you don't really get that as much in the city. Like you do maybe on a night out. So like that's one thing that makes me proud, is just like the friendliness and like the calm of like Cumbrian people. I'm proud to be northern, like proper northern, because like people when I'm in Manchester, they're just like, oh, Cumbria, where is that? And I'm like, the proper north. Let me get in my head. Before you head off as well, please could you like and subscribe to the channel? Bye.